you? Oh my gosh. Hi, Carla. Hi, Shane. It's good to see you guys. For those that don't know, today's live is a little bit different. I am trying to gather some information. I'm dying to know, like, what is it that holds you back, right? What is it that holds you back from entering a show? What holds you back from trying a new technique or a new quilt? Like basically, what is it that like really holds you back from doing the things that you want to do? So, totally non-quilting related. For my entire life, and I'm probably like reminiscing on this because it's my birthday week, and I've wanted to be in shape, right? I've wanted to feel good, be toned, be able to walk up a hill without going, whew, got to catch my breath. So I took the plunge 6 weeks ago and started doing kind of an exercise diet regime. And I'm going strong. I'm loving it. But it got me to thinking, like, what had held me back from doing it? And I'm telling you right now, I was afraid that I would falter. I was afraid that I wouldn't make the goal that I had set for myself. All of these things. So I was like, wow, you know what? I'm thinking, like, in my quilting career, what has held me back from doing certain things, right? And a lot is fear of what other people think about me. I know it's weird, but that's so true. Do I have the skills to pull that off? What if I look stupid? So there's a whole host of things going on in this head. And I thought, I'm wondering if anybody else feels the same way that I do. So I'm hoping I'm not alone in this. I'm hoping that you all, there's times where you're like, oh, I want to try that, and you don't do it. So one of the things that I hear a lot when I am teaching is, no, I'll never be able to do that, or no, I'm not at that level, and it's, you've got to change your mindset to say, I'm not at that level yet, right? We all have to start somewhere. And I know I talk about this a lot. We all start in the same spot. So I'm curious. So I want you to hop in the comments and let's kind of tackle what and change our mindset on on anything that's really holding us back, right? So I'm going to just scroll through and see. So Carla, you're talking specifically with customer quilts. They say do what you want, but are they really going to like what you do? I totally get that. I had that for years doing customer quilts, but you have to change your mindset and think, you know what? They're bringing it to me because they know my style. So they're going to like what I'm going to do, right? So they're not going to just hand their quilt over to someone when, or I hope not, they don't know the style of that quilter. So I think you just go for it. You just go for it. Somebody hands it to you and say, do what you want. Clear their budget first. Like, you got to be, okay, how much do you want to spend? So you don't like go to town and do something that they don't want, to spend the money for. So there's that. So, but other than that, I've seen your quilting. You rock it. So I think anybody that, you're going to quilt for is super lucky to have you. So, okay. Let's see what else we got. Deciding on how they want it quilted. Deciding on how they wanted it quilted. Yeah. So again, it kind of goes back to Carolyn. I've seen your quilting as well. And you've got it going on. So again, like, you guys got this. I mean, totally. I think that they, again, are bringing it to you because you know what you're doing. So they trust you. If on the off chance, and it has happened to me, you do something and they're like, ooh, oh, you tackle that bridge when you come to it, right? But I think that if we all go into it and we're doing things that we like, right, that we think it looks good within our wheelhouse of our quilting, I think you are fine. Ontario, hi, how are ya? Fear. Okay, Lynn, totally get that. So when you say fear's holding you back, what specifically in quilting is that fear holding you back from? Is there a pattern that you want to try? Do you want to have a business? Do you want to enter a show? So leave it in the comments and let me know, because that's a huge one. Look, I have imposter syndrome. I am not going to lie. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what qualifies me to sit here in this seat doing lives, teaching you all. I honestly sometimes don't. So I think we all go through that. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to like at one day wake up and go, oh, she sucks. Like, what? Like, why are we following her? Why are we listening to her? She sucks. So, Lynn, you are not the only one that, has those fears. I have them every day I wake up. I like try and give myself this little pep talk. You got it. You got it. You got it. So, I really do think it's a matter of changing that mindset. Shane, your health, your divorce holds you back. I work on them daily. I totally get that. Most of you know, it was just about 4 years ago now that I went through my divorce. And while it was fairly amicable, it's like you're mourning a death. So Shane, you have to take the time to work through all of those emotions. And you are a prolific quilter. I know you are. And I'm like, just dive into your work and hopefully that'll help. I became stagnant as far as my work goes. There was just something that I couldn't, going through my divorce, really struggled with working on quilting. I'm not sure why, but that was a real thing. So crossing my fingers for you, hoping you know, if you need help, I'm here to help you, girl. I am there for you. Time and organization. Catherine, that's a good one. That is a good one. So the time, if you had unlimited time, what is it that you would tackle? What, and organizational wise, God, I know that. I'm like so disorganized in so many areas that I know that holds me back, because I'm like, oh gosh, am I going to be able to find that? Or, yeah. So I totally get the time and organization. Hi, Carol. How are you? Okay, Sue, sometimes it's as simple, let me put this up here. Sometimes it's as simple as lack of access if special items are needed to, yes. Sometimes it's just overwhelming with every other project in the works. Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. I totally agree with you on that. I think like we need to have like a checklist. Do I have everything to tackle said project? I know. And I'm a big one. Lately, I'm really wanting to dive in to doing this log cabin that I've got in my mind. It's applique with log cabin. And I'm like, okay, I think I have the fabric. I don't know if I have the fabric. I can't stand shopping for fabric online. It really bothers me, but most of the quilt shops around me have closed. So, yeah, so I'm going to have to figure something out. I'm going to have to dive into some of my hand dyes, because that's kind of what I'm feeling. Yes, make sure that I have everything. My thing is too with that, is I always want everything to be show worthy, right? Sometimes I need to ratchet down my thinking and say, you know what, it just needs to be good enough for me. Like, I don't need like to bury the threads on that. But I have this specific vision for this log cabin, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to execute it. So it's a matter of sitting down and actually coming up with it. So yeah, certain projects, making sure you have everything. Totally, totally get that. So Janet says time holds her back. I feel guilty to do quilting when I have so many other things I need to do. I have instituted, not very well, I might add. I try and use my planner really well, right? Where I'm actually putting in on the side of my planner, it actually has times, right? You know, from whatever, 6 in the morning till 8 at night. And I'm trying to get good at saying, okay, these are the things that I need to do today. And I put in like what time I'm going to be doing that. And I allot myself only that amount of time to do it, right? So even if it's like I have to clean my house, right? When I'd rather be quilting, I'm going to tackle something for a half an hour, you know, and I'm going to clean it and then I'm moving on to the next thing. And I always leave a little bit of fudge room in between each thing I have to do. But I started scheduling quilting in there because I do have this log cabin that I really would like to do. And unless I like actually schedule it into my planner, it is not happening. So I totally get that. Time really does get away from you. And I don't know about you, and give me a thumbs up if this happens to you, but I'll say I'm going to quilt for an hour. And whether it's piecing or I'm actually quilting, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I look at my watch and it is like 3 hours later and I am like, oh my God. Okay, well, now my day is a little different and I have to start juggling things. So I'm sure that I am not the only one, that there are plenty of you that you get in that studio and you're like, holy moly, time just goes poof. Poof. Yes. So time is a big factor, I think, not just for you, Janet, for a lot of people. Okay, so Lynn's, it's your skills. Definitely growing, but still a newbie. Let's see. I have just started quilting for girls in my quilting group, and I would love to do a show. Yes. So again, start before you're ready. Start before you're ready. Progress, forward motion over perfection. So it was funny. I think it might have been last week, and I can't remember who said this, but they were so spot on, right? I am a huge procrastinator, a huge procrastinator. And part of it, and somebody says, procrastination is the sister to perfectionism, or maybe it was vice versa. Like perfectionism is the sister to procrastination. I don't know which it is, but I'm telling you right now, that is so true. I am trying really hard. I tell myself I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I keep telling myself, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it's so hard. But those two things are sisters. So if you procrastinate, right, then you're probably a little bit of a perfectionist. So, Lynn, start before you're ready. I'm telling you right now, I'm so glad to see that you are quilting for girls in your quilting group. One of the things, that I was talking to Barb Persing about, who is a very good friend. And if you don't know her, you totally need to. We were at Pilates together this morning. And she, now I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Love it. No, it's this 50 some odd year old brain. It just doesn't want to work. My gosh. Anyway, Lynn, you go for it. You know, if you want to do, oh, that's where I was going with this. So a lot of times, like we draw, right? I'm a big proponent of drawing. It is fantastic to get that muscle memory. One of the things that I think as quilters we don't do is we don't design, right? So in my 16 plus years of quilting, one of the biggest things I have found is people, even though they have the skills, they can do feathers, they can do cross hatching, curved cross hatching, continuous curves, all of that, right? They don't know how to bring it all together, right? Which, if you don't design on a regular basis, I can totally see that it is difficult to look at a quilt and go, okay, I know how I'm going to quilt that. I totally get that. So one of the things that like I was fortunate and I did customer quilts, which gave me the opportunity. I've done 3,000 plus. It gave me the opportunity to design for 3,000 different quilts, right? Of course, not all of them were custom. Some were all over, but that muscle memory is there. Like I know how to pull things together because I've done 3,000 quilts. And I'll tell you right now, those quilts in the beginning, I don't think I want to see them. I honestly don't think I want to see them because I was still learning. I had my training wheels on, and my design process wasn't fine tuned. So real quick, and I'll talk about this maybe towards the end, but I did start it's called Design Decision Dilemma, and you all in Tribe know this as being like a very popular feature in Tribe, where you send me pictures of your quilt and I give you ideas on how to quilt it, right? And pulling it all together. And you hear me kind of say, I don't like that. And I'll erase something and I try something else. So what I did was I pulled that out. So you Tribe members obviously already have it, but I pulled it out as a lower ticket membership. So now you can get it for $9 a month, and every Thursday you get a video. But it's just that. So if you want to stretch those design muscles, this is a great way to do it. Each one will have the quilt picture attached to it, and you can download it and you can practice designing. You will never get better at designing unless you put the effort into it, right? You've got to do it and do it often, and there should be no fear in that. So, but that's something separate. So back to you, Lynn. I'm telling you, if you want to do a show quilt, you keep quilting for your friends. You dive into, designing, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get there. So, oh, thank you. I try and be real. I don't know any other way to be. Just me. So Debbie, you said it's time. Yeah. So we were talking about time. And time is it for all of us. So the best thing to do with time is just really try and be diligent in planning out and carving out some time for your quilting, Debbie. I've seen your quilting, and it's phenomenal. So again, just carving out that little bit of time for you to do it, even if it's only a half an hour. And sometimes I'm bad at that, but I think in order for me to get some stuff done down here in the studio, because now it's golf season, I'm really going to have to. I'm sitting looking over here, because over here on my design wall is a long Lone Star that I still have not finished. I have a plan for it. But of course I've got that, but then this now log cabin is like, taunting me over here. So I don't know. I'm going to have to break down my time even more and say, okay, I'm going to spend this on the Lone Star. I'm going to spend this on the log cabin. I don't know how I'm going to get it all done. I really don't. Brenda, going through your divorce. Oh, you're going to hear they're out blowing. So I apologize. Going through my divorce when my quilting started to thrive without the negative comments. I improved. I love that. I think that's awesome. Oh, Shane, thank you. We follow you because you have a skill we admire. You may not see the value of your skills as we do because it comes easier to you. Oh, you're probably absolutely right. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't come very easy, and sometimes it does. But and don't. Well, oh, Sandy. Oh boy. You feel like it takes too long and you don't charge enough. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if you want to have a separate conversation with me about how to charge, I'm all in on that. And maybe we can have one of our Facebook Lives be how we charge for our quilting. You do not want to do this just because you enjoy it, right? If you're doing it as a business, it's a business. You gotta make some money. So, yeah, it sounds like maybe you need to up your rate for custom if you know if it's taking you longer than you think it should. Yeah. Especially, and I don't know, Sandy, if you're still with us, you can put it in the comments, but I'm wondering, when you do a quilt, do you have a plan before you start your quilt? If you have a plan, it's much easier to really kind of work through that quilt. Oh, Sherry, I like that. Sherry uses a timer in her sewing room and she gets more done this way. I love that. Sherry, I'd like to know like exactly how you do it. Do you like, okay, I'm going to piece for 20 minutes and then I'm going to quilt for 20 minutes? Or is it more of just saying, hey, okay, like I'm setting an hour timer here and when the timer's up, I got to go clean my bathroom. I hope it's not that. So Sandy, you'd like to do a show as well, but keep putting my customers first and put my own projects on the back burner, and it never seems to move to the front burner. Yeah, so I would say if you already have a quilt that's done, and it's just waiting for you to quilt, treat it like a customer quilt. And that's what I used to do. I was deliberate in how I did my customer quilts. So I would sit down and say, okay, these are the quilts I have. And then I would plan out my month. And if I had a show quilt, I knew most of the time it's going to take me a while, right? So depending upon the size, I would block off 2 weeks to try and get it done. Now, it's hard when you are relying on that income, right? Because if you aren't doing a customer quilt, that money isn't coming in. So I know that that's difficult. So what I would do is in the beginning of the month, I would do my bigger quilts that brought in more money. So I typically wouldn't do king size quilts that were custom quilted, right? I would do king size quilts and I would put a pantograph on it, but it still could be like a $300 or $400 quilt. So I would make sure that those quilts were like the first week so that I pulled in more money in that first week. Then I did my quilts and then I did the lower priced quilts. So I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, so we will. Then why don't next week we talk about pricing? But when we talk about pricing, I need you guys to help me, right? So it really has to be interactive. So I'm thinking maybe if you guys send me your questions and like where you're at pricing wise, what your competition does in your own city, it would give me a better gauge as to help each person in each different different area. Okay, so we're going to do that. Let's talk pricing. Maybe you're right, Vicki. Maybe it should be a Zoom. Why don't we do a Zoom? All right, let me just get my pad of paper here. Okay, let's do a Zoom on pricing. Okay, so this will be a separate thing, so we won't do it at our Facebook Live time. We'll still do a different Facebook Live, but I'm going to look at my schedule and see about setting up a Zoom for next week, and we'll just talk pricing. So I'll throw it out there. When I figure out what day it's going to be, I'll throw the link and all of that up on this page for you guys. For those of you that are viewing this on YouTube, I'm going to encourage you to hop on over and make sure you follow me on my Quilters Groove Facebook page, because that's where I'm going to post it. And then if I'm really organized, I don't know about that. If I'm really organized, I'll throw out a quick email saying that, hey, we're talking pricing at this time. So if you're not on my email list, hop on over to lisahkaye.com and make sure that you are on my mailing list. So we will definitely, Vicki, I need you to be my administrative assistant because that's a fantastic idea. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So Sherry, you plan your time, whether it's 10 minutes to piece, insert it into my day, or 2 hours to quilt. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think maybe we all need to collectively help each other with that. So I'm going to try to yeah, I'm going to try to do that. Maybe I'll get my log cabin done. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, Debbie, I think that yes, we'll record it, the Zoom for sure. And I will probably end up sending that out in an email to my email list, because I think that we need to make sure that you are getting your worth. If you think about it, and I liken this to kind of like heavy equipment operators, right? They go through their training, they continue to have training, they know how to run this very big machine. Well, that's us, and they get paid a lot of money. You should get paid a lot of money. And it's not your job to make somebody's hobby affordable, right? You need to feed yourself, your family, your children. So, yeah, it's not your job to make somebody's hobby affordable. If they can't afford you, there will be somebody else that they can go to. Firm believer in that. Okay. Now, oh boy. Okay. Now, if you want to make some money, you charge us $5. Really? Are you serious? That's crazy. No, I'm not going to do that, but that's a good suggestion. I'm not going to do that. No, no, I can't do that. Anyway, time involved in making practice. Right. Oh my God, you are so right, Melissa. There is time involved in the practice, in making the practice sandwiches, in the design process that goes through your head. Whether you're doing an all over design, you got to find the all over design, and sometimes you have to purchase the all over design. Your time is worth money. This is going to be a great topic. I am super excited for this one. Okay. Love it. Okay. Shane, I'm always astounded by how coveted sewing is, and at the same time, people place no value on it. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's funny because I'm in these team matches for golf, and I'm always very hesitant when people are like, "Oh, so what do you do?" You're out here in the middle of the week in a golf match, and I'm like, "Oh, I work for myself." And it's super interesting when I tell them, I actually, I'm like, I'm a professional quilter. I haven't come up with a better way to really describe what I do. I could say I'm an entrepreneur in the quilting world, or maybe I should do that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, then it always is like, oh yeah, so and so, my grandmother crochets, and do you make drapes? No, don't do that. No. So it's really interesting, that you say that, because they really don't place any value on it. And it's quite sad. It's quite sad. Yet they can't do it. It's a skill that we have that they can't do, right? So you would think that it would be valuable. Anyway, so I want you to think about, right, when we talk about what's holding us back, full circle. Boy, we covered quite a bit today. Self-defeating thoughts are a big reason why we don't try new things, right? So I want you all to think of one new thing, and I'm going to make you put it in the comments, okay? one new thing that either you are going to try this week or one thing that new thing that you tried last week. So it could be something that you've already done or something that you want to try within this week. I would love to see it in the comments. I can see you guys out there. So there is no hiding from me, and don't quick hop off this Facebook Live just because you don't want to put it into the comments. So I want you to pop that into the comments. I want to hear one new thing that you're going to try this week or that you tried last week. New, right? So we are going to hold each other accountable. We are not going to be afraid. Okay. This is great, Henry Ford. If you think you can't or you think you can, you're right. So for all of those people that are like, oh, I can't do that. No, you're right, you can't. But if you change your thinking and you're like, I can, then by God, you can. Love it. Okay, Debbie. Debbie is finishing binding for, oh, yes! For her first show quilt entry, deadline 3. Oh my gosh, I am thrilled for you. I love that. I love that. Janet, I want to get that quilt started that's been sitting on the frame since November. November! No! That's crazy talk, girl. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Whew. All right, Carolyn, give myself a self-affirming thought to start each morning. Oh my gosh. I would love it if you posted that. Why don't you post it? You could post it on this page. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. I think it might have been Brene Brown, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but I love Brene Brown. Was it her? I think it might have been. Give yourself a high five in the mirror every morning. It's hard to not smile when you start giving yourself high fives, right? Because you feel so, first off, you feel so stupid. You're like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I'm going to high five on myself in the mirror. But give it a try. I think it really works. It really helped me. So, okay. Sherry, I need to make up practice sandwiches so I can practice off my frame. I'll do it on my domestic machine. I need to practice. Love that. I love that. So Sherry, I don't know if you have on your frame zippers. I am a huge proponent of having zippers, and this is exactly why. Because the domestic machine is so much different than your long arm, right? So if you practice on your domestic machine, it's a different skill set than it is on your long arm. So if you have zippers, what I always do is I quick zip off what I'm working on, and I can zip on a practice piece very easily. So I don't know if you have zippers, if you're familiar with them, but huge, huge, love them, love them. Okay, Fran, try to create a quilting design for my daughter's quilt. I love that. I love that. I'd love to see your daughter's quilt. So if you don't mind, you can always post it on the Quilters Groove page, and we can all take a look and give you some ideas. Okay, Brenda, I appliqued with a light box for the first time. Yes! For the first time, and it was so much easier. I love that. So I'm assuming you're talking about positioning your applique, and yes, yes, and heck yes. I love my light box. It was one of my best purchases. Okay, I've stepped outside my zone and drew out a detailed quilt plan and created a quilt pattern from scratch. Love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. That's fantastic. When we live in our box, it's very comfortable in our little box. And to actually step outside of our box, it's a little scary, but it's discomfort. That's where growth happens. So we all just need to get a little uncomfortable. Cross hatching and curved cross hatching. Excellent. Love it. If you need help, let me know, Jenny. Okay. Catherine, try pantographs instead of freehand overalls. Time saving. It is so funny, Catherine, that you say that. When I first started, couldn't do panographs. And I was so bummed because there were so many out there that were so good. And I got my free motion skills from the front and had a ball. After a year with my machine, I changed machines and I could actually do a pantograph. And I loved it because it was just a no-brainer. So, yes, and if you have questions about doing pantographs, pop them onto the Facebook page, and I'm more than happy, and I'm sure everybody else is more than happy to give you any kind of tips on doing pantographs. Love that. All right, Sandy, devote at least 1 hour a day to my long arm practice, seeing patterns from my current class. Yes, love it, love it. I mean, it doesn't help if we take classes and then we never practice, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, taking a tennis lesson and then never playing tennis. I don't know why I used tennis. I should have used golf. Same thing. Mel Robbins. Thank you, Shane. It was Mel Robbins that wrote the High Five book. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, loved, loved, loved that. Okay, Sherry, no zippers. I use red snappers. I'm comfortable on my frame and domestic as well. Perfect then, Sherry. You go for it. Love, love that. All right, so I'm going to hold you to that, Sherry. You are going to make some practice sandwiches so you can practice. Vicky, you want to piece a baby quilt and order a succulent from Honest Fabric. Okay. Nice. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Honest Fabric because she has a couple of mine, but I'm not sure what succulent is. I guess it's a new artist. Okay. Sandy's going to schedule time for designing on paper. I tend to skip the doodling and jump right in. Yeah, I like to have that plan. Big doodler, but if I have a quilt, I'm going to doodle. I'm going to figure out what I'm quilting on it before I even load it, because I can't do the stand and stare. My quilts don't talk to me. You're going to do a quilt worm design in 2-inch border. My grandson. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I want to see pictures of it, Melissa. Right, Vicky? Yeah, she loves her pantographs, and some quilters think you're crazy. No, pantographs are there for a reason. It doesn't mean that you can't do everything else, right? It's similar to, we talked about in a Facebook Live a while ago about using your stitch regulator, your cruise mode, and your manual mode, right? They're tools. Pantograph is a tool, right? You don't have to do them all the time, but they're a tool. Use them. I loved them. Loved them. Okay, Sherry likes to do pantographs in the main part of a busy quilt, but prefer to do the borders freehand. It makes it mine. Yeah, I like that. I like that. These are some awesome ones, you guys. I am like so excited. I am so excited. Okay, so this is going to be my new, what I'm going to do this week. And I know that my members of Tribe are very good at holding me accountable. So you ladies, you need to make sure you hold me accountable. I am going to go live from my studio. So I've got cameras set up all over my studio, and I've been really hesitant to go live and kind of show you how my day goes, what I'm doing, what I'm working on. I went live once in Tribe, but this week I will go live on this Facebook page and this YouTube page. And I'll be working on either my Lone Star or I'll be working on my log cabin. I haven't decided yet, but one of those needs something. So for sure. Okay. Couple last things. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's, right? We're all in different spots. Believe me, I started right where you beginners are. And, you know, again, we all start in the same spot. We progress differently based on how much time we have to practice. Do we do it for customers? Do we have a full-time job outside of our quilt studio? All of that. So do not compare your journey to anyone else's, because real fast, it just brings you right down. Okay, so I'm not really on Instagram looking at other people's stuff. I'm not on Pinterest looking at other people's stuff, solely because I'm trying, again, even at my level, I'm trying not to compare myself to anybody, right? I'm me, my journey. Sometimes it's not a great one, but it's what I've got. So anyway, so really, really, really try not to compare yourself to anybody. Now, last but not least, this is the information that I was giving you. Again, for my tribe members, you already have this within your membership. This is something completely separate for people that aren't ready to go into the full membership. So again, Design Decision Dilemma, $9 a month or $90 for the year. You can register at designdecisiondilemma.com/register, or you can get more information at lisahkaye.com on my webpage. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to look at next week. We're going to pick out a time to do our Zoom on pricing, and you'll see me go live here one day next week, or maybe it'll be even this week. Maybe it's this week. So I'm going to try and post when I'm going to go live so that you guys know as well. So thank you all for sticking with me. I appreciate it. I kept you a little bit longer than I normally do, but we kind of got some good stuff covered. And I'm off to administrative stuff. I've got to go fill orders and hopefully be able to quilt a little later. So have a fantastic day in your studio, and I will be in touch on those dates. All right. Bye, everybody.